And hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special session, a tech talk. It's been a while since we had our last tech talk, so we are super excited to have another one today. And this one is going to be about something which has been many, many years in the coming. The Powerbundle 360 in its third generation. We call it Powerbundle 360 AI Trading Reimagined. My name is Daniel Sinek, and I'm greeting you today from beautiful Brazil. I'm living the life of a trader. You can trade from anywhere as long as you have a good internet connection. So calling in from Brazil, and I will be your host throughout the session. And before we get into it, let me ask you guys, where are you calling in from? Please put your location into the Q&A box. Who do we have today? Please put it into the Q&A box. And I can see we do have a full room of traders. Dean from Phoenix. Hey, Dean. How's it going? Good to see you again. I saw Ben from Seattle. Hey, Ben. Also good to see you again. Brian from Winnipeg. Hey, Brian. Uh, MD Actor from Boston, Werner from Frankfurt, Tom, Northern from Northern California, Rex from Mercer Island. Hey Rex, good to see you. Greg from Sacramento, Leonard from South Carolina, Marvin from Palm Desert, Travis from also Seattle. Hey there, Andrea from London. I believe that's London in the United Kingdom. I believe not London, Ontario. Dan from Boulder, Colorado. Malish from New York City. Oh, that's nice. David from Delaware. Richard from Southern California. Dave from Wendell, Jamaica. Oh, that sounds exotic. Nice. Tom from Roseville, California. Mosh from Alcatraz. That's a joke, I believe. Sigrid from Wien. Hi, Sigrid. Wie geht's? Tim from Hawaii. Oh, nice. Perfect. Wow. What yeah, an exciting crowd all over the world, literally. So even from Europe, a couple of people staying up late, burning the midnight oil to stay with us to see our grown big reveal today. Okay, so let's get into it. Please be comfortable seated, and let's get started. First off, a quick reminder that this session is being recorded and you can watch the recording shortly afterwards at this link here, tradingindicators.com/power. So please keep this in mind. So that's first off. The session is being recorded. Secondly, who are we? Guy introducing you to this brand new reveal of new generation of our Power Bundle. My name is Daniel Sinek. You can see me here on the left-hand side, and we are tradingindicators.com. And together with Homa here in the middle, we have created trading indicators about almost 10 years ago. Oh boy, time really flies. And what we specialize in, and I guess what you could have also guessed from our name, is we specialize in building innovative trading indicators. And over the years, we have built almost 1,000 of those. Can you believe it? For clients all over the world. Most of what we do is based on what's called technical analysis, which is basically, a pattern analysis of your price chart. We believe that fundamentals are almost immediately priced in. And by analyzing your price chart from a technical point of view, you will indirectly also take into account fundamental information. We also believe that indicators are there to simplify your trading and not to make it more complex. And in fact, what you say are features which perhaps you have not seen before, all designed to simplify trading for you so that you, the trader, can focus on what really matters, making that final trading decisions, pulling the trigger, whether you want to get into this trade or perhaps stay on the sideline. Everything else from chart annotations, analysis, entries and exits, all these things can be done by a tool. But what you should be focusing on as a trader is to make the decision whether you want to get into this trade or perhaps stay on the sidelines. Also, guys, this session is for you. So if you have any questions, please don't hold back. Put your questions into the Q&A box, and Homer, Niklas in the chat room, they will keep an eye on those questions. And please really put them into the Q&A box. The chat is for our announcement questions into the Q&A. All right. Now, before we get into it, I do need to remind you that trading does contain substantial risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. performance or hypothetical performance. Keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and strategies discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, so with this out of the way, let's get into it. And I decided, for today, let's do it a bit differently. Let me walk you through, very briefly, of course, through a little bit of, historical journey, how it all began. And this really brings us back to the beginning days of tradingindicators.com. We've always been innovators from the ground up. Go to grad school together. We did research in software engineering. We're innovating stuff in the area of software engineering. So this feed has always been with us. And also back in the day when we started off with trading indicators, we were innovative. And we thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to come up with a whole suite of purposefully designed indicators where one indicator covers one market condition. As we know, markets, they go through cycles. A trending market will eventually reverse, like an uptrend will reverse to a downtrend, and eventually markets will also consolidate. In fact, according to statistics, markets spend about 50% of their time in a consolidation or a sideways phase. And guess what? Each of these conditions, all these conditions differently. A trend trade is very different from a reversal trade. A breakout trade is very different from a trend trade, and so forth and so forth. And from this point of view, wouldn't it make sense, and this was our thinking back then, it's still completely valid, wouldn't it make sense to have one indicator purposefully designed for each of these market conditions? We thought, yes, absolutely, this makes a lot of sense. Let's do it. Let's create what we call the Powerbundle 360. And we call it 360 because we cover each market conditions, basically doing a full circle here. So what are these indicators? Well, indicator number one is our 1, 2, 3 strike indicator, an indicator designed for trend trading. Okay, so trend trading is something that's very natural to most traders. That's a saying, the trend is your friend. Trend trading just feels intuitive for most people. So we thought, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have an indicator designed to find good trend entries, interesting trend entries? Okay, so we did. We developed 1, 2, 3 strike, which gives you these entry signals on your price chart, long or short, depending on your trend direction, if 3 things come together. We need to have directionality, meaning there needs to be actually a trend. The market needs to be in trending mode. Things need to go up or down for a prolonged period of time. That was condition number one. Condition number two is we need to have an increase of volatility and an increase of volume. And if all these 3 things come together, the indicator would show you an entry signal directly on your price chart. So that was one. I'm going to get to some charts really, really soon. Just bear with me for just a couple of minutes. So that's indicator number one. Indicator number two was all about reversals. Nothing lasts forever. Every uptrend will eventually reverse into a downtrend, or every downtrend will eventually reverse into an uptrend. And there are telltale signs, there are early warning signs that this may happen. And one such warning sign is what we call divergence. So divergence is a concept in technical trading, and basically it means discrepancy between what price is doing and an underlying indicator. And if these 2 things are not matching up, something is up. Something perhaps indicates that a change is coming. And these, divergence exists with many different flavors. There's RSI divergence, which contrasts price move with the RSI indicator, or stochastics divergence, which contrasts price move with the stochastics indicator, and so forth. But what we thought, hey, let's come up with our own form of divergence. Yes, and here's the kicker, it contrasts price movement with volatility. And we termed this divergence, volatility momentum divergence. And according to our research and what we studied in our back test back in the day was, hey, this was actually the most telling form of divergence, which can predict trend reversals, which is quite hard to begin with, in the most reliable way, better than RSI divergence and the other forms. So we designed an indicator based on this called Divergence Cloud, which will show you exactly these divergences on the price chart and indicate, hey, perhaps this uptrend now is reversing into a downtrend by giving you an entry signal for that. So that's the second one. And the third indicator was designed for sideways markets or consolidation phases. Because what the beautiful thing about these consolidation phases are is if price breaks out from such a phase, then this breakout is likely to last for quite some time. And you can imagine as a trader that, we can take advantage of this. If a breakout happens and we are able to spot it, we would, in quotes, simply enter in the direction of the breakout in the anticipation that price will continue moving in that direction for a bit longer and we can profit from that. All right, so this indicator was designed for exactly this, to find these strong breakouts, which have the highest likelihood that price will continue. And we call this indicator Volatility Crusher. All right, so this was a bit of a history, and if you know us for a bit longer, you are probably familiar with these three indicators. All right, but it didn't stop there. So now we had our three indicators, each covering a market cycle. Great. But then we were thinking, and we're trading these indicators actively in our own trading room, and our users were using them, but we were thinking, hey, what else possibly could a trader need? What could simplify or help traders make better trading decisions? And back then I was playing poker, and I was watching all these poker channels, and they were quite popular. About 10 years ago, you could barely change your TV station without seeing somebody play Texas Hold'em. And I was wondering, if you look at these broadcasts, you can always see these statistics directly shown here on the, like, this guy here has an 80% chance of winning this hand, and this guy 20% chance of winning. And I thought, that's pretty cool. Wouldn't it be interesting if we could do something similar for traders, where a trader could see before entering the trade what his approximate win chances are, what are his odds of winning? And I thought, wow, this is such a cool idea. What if this was possible? What if you could know before entering your trade that your chances of entering into this long trade, let's say, is 73% of winning it? And of course, 27% will be the chance of losing it. Wouldn't that be something? We thought, yes, that sounds cool. Let's try to do it. So what we did is we took this idea further and further, and we came up with an algorithm which is able to estimate to some degree what your chances are of winning your next trade, and you can see it here, projecting it directly on your price chart. Here's an example of this from these early indicators that we've written from 2022, which would show you directly on the chart, hey, my win rate for winning, or my odds for winning the next long trade is around 91%, and the odds for winning my next short trade is around 87%. And sometimes, the odds are this high, but sometimes they are not as high, perhaps only 25% or 15%. And this also tells you something. It tells you, for example, that, hey, right now, this indicator, for whatever reason, maybe the market conditions are not right, is not working well. And you know what, guys? Sometimes the advice of not taking a trade, staying on the sidelines, is the best trade advice that you can get. So these odds will help you to understand how much can you actually trust this indicator? How much can you actually believe that these signals are tuned into the market? Okay, so that was really cool, and this made a huge difference, because now traders could make truly informed trading decisions. Only trade, of course, when the odds were in your favor. And if they're not, you would stay on the sidelines. And secondly, it would also allow you, and this is something we're going to talk about next, it would also allow you to optimize the parameters that comes with the indicator in a much more systematic way. Because now you would get instant feedback directly on your price chart of whether a parameter change, let's say you tweak the MA period from 15 to 25 or something like this, you would see directly on the price chart, what did it do? Did it improve my odds, or perhaps made it worse? So that was something groundbreaking back in the day. But there's always a but, of course. And this is directly related to finding the best parameters. Well, as it turns out, even though it might be fun in the beginning for the first 5, 10 or 15 minutes, uh, it turned out to be quite challenging, even for the most seasoned traders, meaning finding the best parameters, because you have to play around with them. And whenever you change chart, or whenever you change time frame, you would have to start over again. So, what may sound like fun in the beginning, it turned out to be actually quite, as you imagine, quite tedious, unfortunately. And if something is tedious, if something takes too long, if something is not fun, guess what? You simply will stop doing it. And you just simply use the default parameters. And we realized this. Yeah, this is tedious. This is not fun. Let's do something about it. So we integrated, and we're almost at the end of my history lesson here. We integrated auto optimization into the Powerbundle, which is a feature which will automatically find the best parameters for you, so that you as a trader don't have to do this tedious groundwork and grind work, so that you, the trader, can focus once again on making that final call of whether you want to take the trade or not. All the heavy lifting, all the auto was done by the indicator. And basically what will happen behind the scenes is whenever you change time frame or change symbol, the auto optimization engine would try out hundreds of combinations to figure out which one is the best ones, tuned in for this particular symbol and time frame, making sure that you're always tuned in right settings for the current market conditions. This will, at least for me, it saved me so much time. And time is money. And actually, time, in fact, and I don't want to be esoteric here, time is the most precious resource that we have. So whatever can make you save time, it is worthwhile pursuing. Okay, so we ended in auto optimization into the bundle. But this was also about 2 years ago. But what's now? Why did we call this Tech Talk? Why? What did we have in mind right now? Well, guess what? We have actively traded the Powerbundle the way it was for many years. We've got so much feedback from our hundreds of users who are using the Powerbundle right now. Really good feedback, very insightful feedback. And we have taken all this into account to create the third generation, the latest generation released today of the Powerbundle 360. And we call this generation the Powerbundle 360 AI. Why AI? Well, because we have rebuilt our auto optimization engine from the ground up. This was needed for various reasons. Some are more obvious than others. But first off, one thing we did, and again, we're going to get to the charts in a second, but one thing we did in the previous versions, we were optimizing for having the highest win rates, the highest number of winning trades versus losing trades. This turned out not to be the ideal way. It was a good way and gave us good signals, but there's a better way to do it, because what it did not take into account was that how big our winners were as compared to the losers. And of course, you may have like 5 winners in a row, but then one really huge loser, and then you're overall negative. There's always a chance of this. This is why, with this new version of the Powerbundle, we are now using the profit factor to optimize our profit factors. The profit factor is a metric, a very standardized metric. It's well known in the trading community. And it's a metric which takes into account the size of the winners and the size of your losers and the win rate. So combines all three of them. And as a rule of thumb, of course, the higher the profit factor, the more profitable is your trading system. So that's one thing we did. We rebuilt our optimization engine to make this happen. Okay, secondly, and this also came straight from our users, in this late, we always know what our risk is. This was not possible in the older version because the indicator would figure out while I was in a trade when to get out of it, but it was not known when you took that trade. And this was a big thing because it made position sizing very complicated, because you would not know when to get out of this trade in the worst case. Or in other words, you did not know where your stop loss was. But knowing where your stop loss is so important for risk management, because okay, at this level, I'm getting out for sure if things go against me. And secondly, with knowing where your stop loss is, you can also position size properly, making sure that whenever you get stopped out, you don't lose more than you are willing to risk on this trade. So this is now also possible. with this new version. And as you will see, these two things together, proper risk management and a better optimization engine, makes a huge difference in performance. And Nicholas, who's going to come on in just a bit, is going to show us with hard facts. We back tested it, of course. We spent so much time optimizing and making sure this is really what we want to have. And you'll see it makes a huge difference. And last but not least, the indicator will also do one more thing. It will show you directly on the price chart what should be your position size. And this is chosen based on your risk tolerance. For example, let's say you only want to risk $500 on a given trade. Well, then the indicator would figure out, okay, where's my stop loss? Where's my entry price? And how much or shares could I trade so that if I get stopped, this also is now shown directly on the price chart. All right, so one last thing, and then we're going to get to the chart. So thank you for staying with me patiently. And this is for all TradingView users. So TradingView users, please look for this right now. So please pay attention. As you may know, and if you're an existing user, due to platform limitations that were there with TradingView, it was not possible in the previous version to automatically apply the best settings. The indicator would tell you, hey, these settings are the best ones, but you would still need to go into the settings dialog of TradingView and apply these settings yourself. Once again, super tedious because you would need to do this whenever you change chart or time frame. Another tedious thing. Well, we have found a way to make this happen. Nicholas, our lead developer, he spent countless hours to figure out a way to make this happen. I think we're the first one to do it for TradingView, and now it is possible to automatically apply the best settings for you. So you don't have to do this manually. And another thing, big improvement with TradingView, we improved the optimization engine for TradingView. That's the biggest improvement by the factor of 10. That's crazy, because back then, due to platform limitations, there were limitations of how much complexity an indicator could have on TradingView. We could only test 10 different combinations. Now we can test about 100 of them. So a huge improvement, and you will see the result or the resulting signals are vastly improved as well. Well, that was my monologue, guys. Thank you for patiently staying on. Now let's get practical. Now let's check it out. How does it look on the price chart? And I hope my microphone was not muted the whole time.
Hi, Daniel. No, it definitely wasn't.
Perfect. Hi, guys. Hi, Nicholas. Good to have you. Are you ready to share your screen?
Yeah, definitely. I'll take it away.
All right.
And we'll start, I guess, Daniel, with an initial explanation of the indicators, right? What they're doing on the charts.
Please
and
do.
What they look like. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, even though we do have a lot of probably users who already own the Powerbundle, there will be some users who are not familiar with them yet. So let's start from the beginning, walk them through the indicators, and we're going to look at the more advanced features in just a bit.
Sure thing. Okay. So this first indicator, and hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good evening. Thanks for coming. This first indicator here is what Daniel described as Divergence cloud, and it's meant to find reversals, right? So usually in charts that kind of have unsure patterns, we see a lot of going up, then a pivot downwards, and then a pivot back upwards. That's what this indicator is meant to find. It's meant to find those special types of divergences that often lead to reversals. So if we look at this chart right here, I'm on a 15-minute chart of NQ, and I'm actually back. I used replay. We're all the way back on April 1st, so just before the market started to take a dive back then. So this is how the indicator looks on a chart. And you can see these clouds here, these red clouds, these green clouds, like these ones over here. And that's where the indicator gets its name from. Those are divergence clouds. When a divergence cloud appears, like this one right here, it will be accompanied by an entry signal, which is these little triangles right here. And let me just turn off my crosshair. So this downwards red triangle, that's a short signal from divergence cloud. This one's also a short signal. Over here, we have a long signal, and this is a long signal too. Now, the indicator has entry signals, but it also has what we call partial or scaled exit signals, which are basically just suggestions for you to take profits or take a protective exit. So with this long signal right here, this entry, the trader would go long here, you'd go long, price goes up. These little downward green triangles then are associated with that entry. These are suggested times to exit. So an entry here, you go long, sell, 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 go long again, sell, sell, and then it hits this line right here, and the long trade ends. So if you have Divergence Cloud already, you have never seen this line before. This is the new trailing stop that's been added to Divergence Cloud. And also there's one on 1, 2, 3 strike, the trend trading indicator, which we'll see in a sec. So like Daniel said, the indicator runs optimizations, right? So right when I put it on the chart, it's going to self-optimize, which means it tests hundreds. And actually it says up in the optimization panel, up in the top right here, this figure right here, excuse me, it says 900. That means it tested all of the different possible settings from the indicator to generate signals and to determine where the trailing stop should be. It tested 900 combinations of them, and it tested them over 1,000 or whatever you set it to. It's customizable, 1,000 bars. It tested 900 different possibilities, and it does it extremely fast, like maybe 1 second. And then it figured out, okay, well, which one of these configurations actually provided the best signals historically with the most profit? And these are the ones which, or this approach to the chart to finding these divergences was the most profitable approach. And it tells us up here, actually, in this case, I bet if we go to the most recent bar, this is a very rare number. But in this case, it said, hey, look, the profit factor is almost 31, which means there's 31 times as many profits as there was losses, which it's a very unusual thing. As we go to another chart, we're going to see it's usually something a little more reasonable, like 3 or 4. But it's telling us, okay, it did really well on the long side, short side, half as well, but still ridiculously well. And then on top of that, it tells us, well, how many trades is that based on? It's based on 43 trades, 21 longs and 22 shorts. And these were the win rates for those trades. And what trades are essentially any sort of exit. So when we take an entry here, this one, well, this is, if we went in here, we would enter for a certain amount of a position. This would be a small percentage counted. This one, a small percentage, that one, a small percentage. And we've really improved the optimization engine to actually give now a lot better performing results. We're going to see a performance, especially with this trailing stop, a performance comparison. It really has improved a lot. So this is Divergence Cloud. It's really meant for catching.
Nicholas, real quick, I just have to say 2 comments. Thanks so much on Divergence Cloud. 2 comments is first off, look at these clouds, these greenish clouds and these reddish clouds. These are forms of bullish divergence if it's greenish, and bearish divergence if it's reddish. And guess what? Even if you don't follow the signals of the indicator, you can still use these clouds as for your own filtering. For example, if you have a based on perhaps some other logic that you may pursue, you can use these cloud colors to either confirm your idea or perhaps to reject it. So this is also one way to use this indicator. Yeah, I just wanted to say this. And the other thing I wanted to say real quick is a profit factor of 30 or 54, whatever that is. This is a huge profit factor. Normally, we see profit factors like 1.5 or 2 if it's a really good system. But this is, I don't know, in this case, an exceptional case of an indicator which has performed exceptionally well on this particular symbol.
Yes. And right here, this is actually, we went back April 1st because what we ended up doing to do a performance test is actually run a back test starting back from April 1st. Because if you're trading the market, April 2nd was when the market got really volatile. Now, if we came over to today and I clicked optimize, the little optimize button here, you see it says auto optimizing. We can see this is a more probably common profit factor. Still making almost 2 times as many profits as losses, but back then that was a little bit of a crazy wild card. So the other thing on this chart, which is new if you already have these indicators, is these little numbers here. You see this says 2, 2, 2. Over here it says 1. So this is really, I think, and what we found in terms of improving performance, the most powerful new feature. So we call this risk-based position sizing. And it's based on a setting that you customize in the indicator. So if you click on the little widget over here, or actually we come up to the full settings, there's a new setting called sizing max risk in dollars. So here you define how much you want to risk. You want the indicator to risk on every trade. So if I'm on this contract, this future up here, micro NASDAQ on the 15-minute, and I allow myself to lose $1,000 per trade, that's how many contracts or shares of a stock I can buy if I want to set my max loss to $1,000. Maybe that's a little too high for you. So maybe you want to lose $400 per trade. And I think if you trade this future, you know that it's hard not to, to lose less than that on a 15-minute micro NASDAQ chart, because it's very volatile. So if we set it to $400 max loss per trade, now the indicator is telling us, well, on this one right here, technically, if you want to use this as your trailing stop and you want to rely on the statistics and actually trade the system going forward, you can only go with one contract here. And on this short trade, even though it performed well, the market was volatile enough that the trailing stop had to be set by the indicator according to the optimized settings. It had to be set up here to a little bit higher than a recent pivot high, which is what the algorithm is based on, pivot highs and also volatility and volume. It tells you, hey, you can't even take that trade because if it doesn't go your way, you're going to lose more than $400 if you're using this stop loss. So this is, go ahead, Daniel.
And Nicholas, sorry to interrupt you. This, what this reminds me of, and I think this is so important for trading, is that this enforces discipline. So of course, in hindsight, it's always you could always say, "Oh man, I should have taken that trade. It would have worked out well." But no, you should not. You should have stayed on the sideline because that trade was above your risk tolerance. And if that's the case, then hey, you don't take it. You stay on the sidelines because in the long run, this is gonna help you out as a trader because trading is not, the having this and then, be happy. You want to be consistent, and discipline is a precursor to be a consistent trader. So this is one thing I wanted to say. And then there was a question coming in. This is a really good question. Why are we showing this on Wave? Well, the main reason is because we ran a which Nicholas is going to bring up in just a bit, which we want to show you. And then, of course, we're going to switch over to TradingView ad. Don't worry, to show also how it looks on TradingView.
Hey, Daniel, why don't I go right into that test and then I can hop over and explain the others on TradingView, or do you think we should finish off here in Motive Wave and then we can
maybe show quickly the two other indicators. This was Divergence Cloud. Just show them how 1 to 3 strike looks like, or a trend indicator, and how volatility crusher looks like.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so this next indicator is the trend trading indicators. I'm on micro ES contracts. Now, the way this indicator works is it's based on 3 factors. So it looks, like Daniel said, it looks for trend, volume, and volatility. And when all of those line up, when there's high volatility, high volume, and the trend is down, it's going to give you a short trade, and inverse for when it's a long, if trend's going up. So just like Divergence Cloud, fairly similar in visuals, you have your entry signals right here, the trailing stop, the amount of contracts based on your set risk, and also these little arrows here, which are suggested scaled exits. And just like Divergence Cloud and the other indicator we're going to see, volatility crusher, it gives you the statistics for the back test. You can customize everything about the back test, how far back you want it to look, and it'll tell you how many trades were taken. Hey, 82 trades, that's quite a lot. And the profit factor, 3.25, that's great. And here are the win rates for the trades.
Yeah, now, perfect. And a quick comment, Nicholas. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but this is our trend indicator. And one thing, what you will notice right away is how far this trading stop is away. And this is purposefully the case because if you're in a trend, you want to give that trend a bit of room. You don't want to be whipsawed out when it's correcting because every trend corrects eventually, and it may. Chances that it's going to continue actually are higher than it's completely reversing. So you want to stay in that trade for as long as possible. This is why the trailing stop of this trend indicator is purposefully further away, keeping you in that trend move. It's different for Divergence Cloud. Remember the indicator we had first on? This is for reversals.
I'll put Divergence Cloud on here, Daniel, just so we can see how it has a much tighter trailing stop, or it should at least. Usually, I'll set it to standard. And Divergence Cloud, once we get it, look how tight that trailing stop is in comparison. It's way closer to price.
And the reason for this is, Nicholas, and not Nicholas, but everybody out there, is it is hard to figure out when a reversal happens. Oftentimes tries, and if you need multiple tries, you don't want to lose too much on each tries because it's hard picking this exact reversal point. This is why the stop of Divergence Cloud is so much tighter, because it's a reversal indicator that lies just in the nature of things.
Definitely. And like right here, like Daniel's saying, you'll see, especially with reversals, if you're trying to catch those, they say don't buy a falling knife. Sometimes if you do catch the falling knife, it's the best trade, the month or whatever, the best trade you've had. And we can see here, what you'll see on Divergence Cloud a lot is it tries these reversals right here. See this signal? And it set a super tight stop, which you get a big position size. And if you got stopped out, you're not losing that much. The trailing stop's really close. So we can see it got stopped out. Then the next candle, well, it got another signal. It tried again. And this time it won. And here again, got stopped out, entered again. And that's the idea. These tight stops on reversals. And one thing about the power of this risk-based sizing, why it's a good thing, is look at this trade here. 20 contracts, 16 contracts, 11 contracts, all winners. But then look at this one down here. Things were getting more volatile. Look how big the candles got. The indicator signaled down here, but it's smart enough to know that, hey, we're pretty far away from where we should be putting our stop loss. How about we just go in for 6 contracts? This one's riskier. And look what happened. Price reversed against it and ended up being one of the losers. So the idea behind this is keeping the losers small and keeping the winners big, and making the same amount per trade. So I'm going to go back to 1, 2, 3 strike here. And you can see here just a little overlay how much farther that trailing stop is and how longer the trades last because it's trying to catch trends. So 1, 2, 3 strike is the trend trading indicator. And I'm curious here, I think it's going to lag my internet a bit, but I'm going to connect to market data. I just want to see what rolled in here on ES here. Okay, all right, well, it went long again. But one thing that's really smart about 1, 2, 3 strike is in its algorithm, it has an algorithm inside of it to notice when something goes your way in the trend extremely unusually. So let's say you buy and all of a sudden it jumps up like it never jumped up before. It's smart enough to say, okay, let's probably take some profits. It's got logic for that. So here, when it entered into this long trade, it had seen that volatility was increasing. Volume was high on this last bar. It was the last bar of the day, the last 5 or 15 minutes, 5 minutes. And it also saw that, hey, we have some higher lows. The trend was up in the short term right here. And it decided, okay, this is a dip buy long. So it bought here, price came down, it set a trailing stop, small position size because the trailing stop's far away. And then when the market reopened, it flew up. When it flew up, the indicator said, hey, it flew up a lot. We should probably exit the trade. And this move down here had been registered as a short-term downtrend. That's why it decided, actually, we're going to go short now in the anticipation there's going to be a short trend. And this trade right here, entering on the close of this bar, a very small loss in that reversal, and now it's trying a long trade. Might reverse again soon. But this is the trend trading indicator, 1, 2, 3 strike. And I'm going to hop over show volatility crusher now, just so we get all 3 out of the way. So volatility crusher is the breakout and breakdown indicator. So this one is really meant, I think, like 1, 2, 3 strike is the trend trading indicator. The trends can last pretty long sometimes. Divergence cloud reversals, when they start, maybe they're not going to stop for a while. Volatility crusher, I think I really like as thinking of it as like the explosive move trading indicator. So the trades aren't going to last as long and they're meant to just boom, capitalize on something that happens quickly. So what they look for is number 1, a technical breakout or breakdown according to a small range. So let's say, take a look over here. So like right here, the indicator optimized, let's move something over here so I can see the statistics. It really optimized quite well. 10.74 profit factor, 36 trades, really high win rate on the long side, and 67%, 2 out of 3 on the short side. And what the indicator does is it finds, okay, well, what is the best look back for me to consider to possibly spot an explosive move from a range? So like right here, it said this is a tight range right here. And then on this candle, boom, it pops up out of it. The indicator says this might be a move upwards. It sets that long entry, places this trailing stop, the pink dots, and then it sets 2 profit targets. So this indicator, unlike the others, actually comes with predetermined profit targets, which I think is really nice for a lot of scalpers, day traders, traders of all kinds. We're actually on a stock chart here on a swing trading time frame. 1 hour, our favorite stocks, Arthur J. Gallagher Company. And you can see here, because we're not on futures contracts, even though we're only risking $500 a trade, that we're able to get a lot of shares because there's a lot less risk per point on a stock like this. And this is volatility crusher. You have your short trades, trailing stop loss, the pink line, target 1, target 2. And a lot of traders really like volatility crusher, especially for day trading. So I think we'll see that in a second on TradingView. Daniel, is there anything I should cover before I want to talk about that example of MNQ
Yeah,
from
just
the
real
previous
quick.
generation.
Actually, we do have a couple of questions that rolled in and some very valid questions. So one user was asking, hey, how do I know, or which indicator should I even trade? Should I trade volatility crusher or 1, 2, 3 strike or divergence cloud? Great question, actually. It's an amazing question. The answer is, there's one esoteric man answer is, hey, whatever fits best your trading style. But maybe this may not help you much because you may not know exactly what your trading style is, or maybe you're an opportunistic trader and you trade wherever the chance lies. But one thing we can tell you, you focus on these statistics because these statistics will tell you how well the working for this particular symbol. They will tell you, hey, am I working well? How many trades am I taking? What is my trade frequency? And then you can decide, hey, this fits my style. This fits what I'd like to see. And then you just pick the indicator based on this. Another indicator was, can I put all three indicators on the same chart, on the price chart at the same time? The answer is yes, absolutely. That's no problem whatsoever. You can put them all at once. Typically, this is not what we do because it clutters the chart a little bit. But if that's what you prefer, yes, there's no problem to do that as well. All right. So Niklas, show us how much the performance has improved with this new version, and then let's jump over to TradingView to show how this indicator works there.
Definitely. So one thing we were doing when we were testing to try and make the indicator, I guess, perform more consistently, because one of the questions traders have, so I have the old version of Divergence Cloud here, and Divergence Cloud never came with a trailing stop. So you can have a short trade like this one right here, and then price moves against you. And then finally it signals a trade right here. And maybe these were just, two of the unlucky losers on this chart. A lot of traders were saying, well, where do I place my stop loss? When do I know to kind of prematurely exit? Well, what we wanted to or prided ourselves on improving here was we ran tests during extremely volatile times in market history on futures and also on stocks. So we ran a test on the 5-minute and 15-minute chart of the NASDAQ futures from April 1st to today. So April 1st, because on April 2nd, market started plummeting and a lot of indicators just weren't working so well in those conditions because everything was so volatile. So the first test we ran started back on April 1st, and we ran it with the old version of Divergence Cloud. And we used some of the nice features of it, like auto optimization and re-optimization. And we automated a strategy with strategy build. Now, the results of this one were good because Divergence Cloud is meant to trade reversals. So once we ran that test, let's take a look at the chart, and I'm going to talk about why this isn't, why it's a good chart, but things you should be aware of with certain types of trading. So when you don't have a stop loss, when are you going to exit your trade? Right? If you don't have a stop loss, you're probably just going to exit your trade based on emotion or when you cannot sustain any further losses, which is not a consistent approach, right? You want to know going into it, how much am I risking if I win this many times and lose this many times? If I'm, willing to make this much per trade and lose this much, then am I going to make money over time? Well, running that back test from April 1st all the way to today on the previous version of Divergence Cloud on the 15-minute NASDAQ, it did well, right? Okay, so it made a good money trading 4 micro contracts per trade. It made 30 or 40,000. No, this is the final result. I think it was 33,000 or something over here, which is like, wow, that's great. But if we really analyze what's happening here, we can see that, well, one of the trades, just one of them, was responsible for almost doubling the account, even though we are only trading 4 contracts every single time. And most traders, if you've ever traded and you've ever had a big winner, like maybe you've had a lot of small losers, then you get a big winner, you almost always take the profits before they reach as much as they would earn, right? And then the equity graph here over time ends up leveling off. So we can see it was a nice equity graph, but it wasn't consistent. And when we check out the results of the trades, one of the trades actually lost us $3,000, even though we had way more winners. Maybe you weren't willing to lose that much on any of the trades. Who knows if you were manually trading this, if you would have actually lost more or lost just a bit less. Well, with the new version of the indicator, you can set your predefined risk. So the test we would run is see, okay, how did the indicator perform? And then if we set the indicator to make that our max risk, so assuming that we were willing to risk it, what would happen? And with a trailing stop, I'm going to speed it up here so we can get over to TradingView. With a trailing stop, we found a much more linear equity curve over the same back test. and
Yeah.
3 times the profits, around 80,000 if you're risking 3,000 per trade. And we can see here there's no unexpected results, which I think is the big improvement. We capped out our losses, our losers at 3,000 per trade, and they would scale if we capped them out at 300. Instead of 90,000 in profit, it would have been 9,000 in the back test, which is how you can look at these sorts of statistics.
Cool. Nicholas, go back to the equity curve real quick, because you said something really important is how smooth it is. So this is an equity curve which is much more favorable to the other one because it's smoother. You don't make all your gains by one lucky, in quotes, lucky big trade. It's actually consistently going up. This is what you're looking for. And actually, there's a metric. This is a little side fact called R square, which actually analyzes the equity curve to give you feedback about the quality of your trading system. So the R square value of this particular one would definitely be much higher than the one we've seen before. And this is, even though it may seem somewhat similar to the naked eye, but it is a much better equity curve. And this shows you the power of this new Powerbundle AI generation. All right, Nicholas, let's move over quickly to TradingView, and then we're going to answer a bunch of user questions which have rolled in. And
Sure,
perhaps
yeah.
start with the fact that now we don't need to manually apply the settings anymore. This is done automatically.
Yes, sir. So if you had the indicators before, you know that it would tell you out of 10 possibilities which one you have to click manually to apply the best settings. Now that's not the case. So I can remove the indicator, come in here, put on Divergence Cloud AI. The second it gets put on the chart, it's already done. It tested 84 combinations, nearly 10 times as many as last time, well, 8 times, almost 9. And on the other indicators, it does even more. And now we've got the profit factor, which it's optimizing for 6.8. Now, it tells you the long and short win rate. And we're also going to be updating with the exact same stuff we have in MotiveWave. So the amount of trades and all this. Now, this is on Micro Gold. This is Divergence Cloud. And it's got all the same features as on MotiveWave now, the max risk sizing, the trailing stop. You can enable or disable the trailing stop. We didn't even mention that on MotiveWave, but maybe you don't want to take the partial exits and you just want to use the new trailing stop. Oftentimes it has even better results. If you just only use the trailing stop, you might actually increase your profit factor once the optimization runs. And we found this is working extremely well. And if you know replay mode in TradingView, it's very handy to backtest to see, okay, would it actually have performed well? Or is this just a historical result? I think over here was this gold? Well, no, but we could just do something like this. We click replay, hop back to, hey, this morning at 7 a.m. These were the optimization results back then. Then you just click run forward and see, well, how does the indicator perform going forward with those optimized settings? And I'll just let it run for a second here. But we can see that oftentimes, it's like a walk forward test. Once you have run the test, it's still going to work for a little whiles into the future. So here was a short entry, scaled exit, scaled exit, scaled exit, and that's our trailing stop. And if we hit that at any moment, we're still going to be in the profit. And then here it reverses. Divergence Cloud's the reversal indicator. And one nice thing is, just like on the other platforms with the little widgets to trigger a re-optimization, here's Volatility Crusher AI now. In the settings of the indicator, open it up. It's a little different on TradingView. You can just click this button here, check or uncheck to trigger re-optimization. So if you click that, turn it on, wait a second, or turn it off, wait a second, it's going to re-optimize. So maybe you put the indicator on at 9 a.m. and now it's 1:30 on the 1-minute chart, and you want to see, hey, do I still have the best settings? Just click re-optimize. You don't have to remove the indicator and reapply it.
Great. Perfect, Nicholas. I think this is a great first demo of how the indicators work. And we're going to get back to the charts in just a bit. But let me now walk you through some other material and, most importantly, show you how you can get hold of this third generation of our Powerbundle indicators. So I'm going to grab back my screen. There we go. And you may wonder, are these indicators something I could use in my trading? Should these be in my trading arsenal or my repertoire? Well, Let me tell you one thing first. We've looked at smaller time frame charts primarily in this demo, but it doesn't really matter whether you trade the smaller time frames as a day trader or perhaps you're a swing trader or an investor on larger time frames, because these three indicators will work on every time frame and chart type. It doesn't also matter whether you trade regular candlestick charts or perhaps Heikin-Ashi or range bars or Renko charts or tick charts. No problem. These indicators will work on every single chart type. Whether you perhaps trade stocks or currencies or futures or cryptos, no problem, because these principles that these indicators follows, they work on any of these asset classes. So these indicators will work on every symbol and every asset class. Also, if you are a bit of an engineer like me, I'm a software engineer by training. In fact, we're all software engineers here at Trading Indicators. And if you believe as an engineer that tools can make your life easier and good trading tools can make your trading life easier, then these indicators are definitely something you may want to consider, because they will do all the heavy lifting for you. They will tell you how much you should risk on this trade, what your position size should be. They will auto optimize the parameters for you, and they will tell you directly on the price chart how well they are working for a particular symbol and time frame, so that you can really make an insightful trading decision. If any of these check your boxes, then perhaps consider this special offer which we have put together. And first off, you can take advantage of this offer once it comes up at tradingindicators.com/power. That's the link here, Nicholas. Perhaps you can put this link into the chat box. Now, what you're going to get? Well, of course, you're going to get our Powerbundle indicators, the brand new version of 1, 2, 3 Strike, our Trend Expert, Divergence Cloud, our pullback or reversal finder, and Volatility Crusher, the breakout trader. Of course, these are all included in our Powerbundle. All of these come with auto optimization, which will find the best parameter settings for you. They will come with performance statistics, and they will come now with this built-in risk management. You're going to get your trading stop, your position sizing, the rebuilt optimization engine, and for TradingView users, these settings now will be applied to your price chart. So you're going to get all this. Now, typically, or the normal price is that these indicators are available for a subscription of $997 a year. All right. So, but as a big thank you and for the big unveiling of these indicators for the very first time to the public, we decided to give you an even better offer. Instead of $997, you will only pay $797 a year. And all you need to do is to enter this coupon code AI when onto the checkout page. So go to tradingindicators.com and enter the coupon code AI. And you grandfathered in at $797. One more thing, which is really important, is that you will not be left alone with these indicators. It's not like one thing you sign up and then you're left to your own devices. This is not the case, because you will be invited to a lot of training sessions. First off, we're going to have a series of live master classes already scheduled. Now, as soon as you sign up, you will get links to each of these master classes, which will come up in the next couple of weeks. And these are all live sessions. You can attend, you can ask questions. Of course, these are recorded, so you can watch the recording later on at your convenience. So you're going to get all this for a special deal of $797 a year. By the way, for all of those, and I think there are quite a few out there, if you already own a previous version of the Powerbundle, there is an upgrade option available. And all you need to do is to send me a quick email afterward. Option is, and we're going to walk you through. Okay, so if you already own it, send me a quick note that you're interested in an update or an up, and I will let you know. So this offer here is for brand new users of our Powerbundle 360 AI. Now, what is included? Well, for our launch, you of course will get the Powerbundle, obviously, for a full year, and you get these extra. Example, you will be invited to our masterclass. I already mentioned this, but it doesn't stop there. We will also live trade with these indicators in our upcoming live trading workshop, already scheduled for May 15th at 9:30 a.m., where we will trade the market open on that date. So live trading workshop, a masterclass consisting of 3 sessions, 1 session for each indicator, designed to explain you every single feature about these indicators. So if this may have gone a bit fast today, no problem. You're going to see it all in this masterclass. We're going to take our time and walk you through every single feature of these indicators. And the first one is already scheduled for May 21st at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, these are also recorded. And thirdly, you will be invited to our Lunch and Learn sessions. You may be already part of it if you have bought an indicator from us before. But if you are first time users, you will be invited to our weekly sessions. We just had our sessions a couple of hours earlier today at 12 p.m. Eastern. These take place every single Tuesday at 12 p.m., where you can ask questions. You're going to learn tips and tricks. We're going to look at the live market, and we're going to share with you how we trade the market. All right, so these will be included. And of course, you can also join our Discord channel for free. And lastly, you will get our ebook, Cracking the Breakout Code, an ebook designed on the principles of Volatility Crusher, as you know now, which is our breakout indicator. All this for the special price of only $7.97 a year. All right, so with this, I'm going to look at the questions now. So which questions did fall in? I did see quite a few. All right, so have you got those for NT8 as well? Oh, this brings up a really good question. I didn't even mention for which platforms these indicators are available. Great question from Akta. Yes, these are our Powerbundle AI indicators are available for Wave, as you've seen, for TradingView, of course, and also for NinjaTrader 8. So yes, all these platforms are supported. Okay, next question. And Nicholas, perhaps you can walk me through a little bit through these questions.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, so we got a lot of questions that we can skip through, which are just, is it for NinjaTrader 8? Yes, it is also for NinjaTrader 8. I'll just mention the 3 platforms, Wave, TradingView, NinjaTrader 8. The next one is a common question. Hey, I already have the indicators. How can I get an upgrade? Please send us an email at info@tradingindicators.com if you already have them to be grandfathered in. There's a special offer there. This offer is for brand new users to the AI bundle. And another question we have here, do you have an update for using this with the strategy builder? So we've been using the strategy builder to do all of the testing, but for Wave 7, Mark, not yet. So we're working with Wave. They're going to be making some changes, hopefully soon, to Wave 7 to help the strategy builder move over to that new update coming up. It's still in beta, Wave 7. Is there an offset for the trailing?
Real quick, so on this topic, this bundle, however, will work perfectly with Wave 7. This was just a comment for the strategy builder, which is a different tool, but this bundle will work with Wave 7.
Already, yeah, it's already working with Wave 7 with the beta, so no worries there. And is it compatible with Bloodhound? So we don't use Bloodhound, but I think in the past the old ones have, but we cannot say for sure unless you can, Daniel.
Yeah, so we are plots, and Bloodhound is a third-party tool. But yes, it works. You can define I forgot how Bloodhound calls it on NinjaTrader. You can define your conditions for your own entry sequence and your exits. And yeah, this is possible with the Powerbundle of AO. It was possible before, and it's definitely possible right now as well.
Perfect. And now let me bundle these 3 questions together. How is the trailing stop decided? Does the trailing stop differ from how does it differ from just using Super Trend Bullseye? And is there an offset? So is there an offset, and how is it determined? So it is determined based on an optimization process that's unique to each of the indicators. So like 1, 2, 3 strikes and volume volatility, it takes that into account along with pivot points to find a logical spot based on current action to start your trailing stop, and then how to trail it going forward. There is no manual offset to change it. It's an optimization process that tests hundreds of combinations, which I think might end up being better and more convenient than having to change them manually, but currently no. And the other question is how to differ from adding Super Trend Bullseye. Well, Super Trend Bullseye, you can add it on, but it's not always going to match up with the signals of the indicator, right? So how it differs is the new trailing stop is associated directly with the entry signal, and it helps determine exactly the position size, and all that's taken into account over the hundreds of configurations it's tested. So they're really like born from the start together, the trailing stop and the entry signal. So I think it is a better method than just using super trend bullseye on top of the indicators. But we've done that in the past. That's still very valid. Super trend bullseye has statistics too. Another question, how well does it work on the 1 minute or 5 minute? And then another question, does it work on the daily chart? And another one, does it work as good on the 1 minute than the 15 minute? So yeah, actually, while testing on TradingView, I was actually using it to trade NASDAQ and gold on the 15-second chart because I was trying to see if it still performs there. And yeah, it's going to work on every time frame. And it does work just as well on smaller time frames as larger time frames, sometimes better. And the best thing is you'll know if it's working as well or not because you can just look at the statistics and it'll tell you what the performance is. But yeah, there's no distinction really between smaller and higher time frames at all. And another question here, all the calculations are relative and it adapts to your chart. That's why Brian says, so if you have divergence cloud on the 15-minute chart and it's green, then a good strategy would be to buy the 3-minute or so on dips. Perhaps, yeah, especially, let's say especially with the trailing stop. So in the previous version, I might not agree to that because just because there's a bullish cloud doesn't mean it's not about to reverse. But now, since divergence cloud is a trailing stop, hey, if you could dip on a smaller time frame near the trailing stop, you have better reward to risk. You have a very nearby stop, and if the statistics are good, there's a high chance it's going to pull up and continue the trend. So yes, you can definitely use it as a filter like that. And have I missed any here above those questions? Is there a discount? I have super signals. Please send Daniel an email. Send us an email at info@tradingindicators. And another one.
And I'm going to take a couple of questions away too, Nicholas. I've just been looking through them. If you already own this product, like Jerry, I just saw yours once, please send me a note. I'm going to explain to you what your upgrade options are. Okay. So as that's definitely possible. And if you already paid something for it, this will definitely be taken into account for sure. Is there a lifetime option for this bundle? Possibly, yes. Please send me a note as well to explain to you what the lifetime option is as well, Akhtar. Okay, so please reach out to this. This is, right now we offer the subscription, but a lifetime might be something we are considering as well. Please reach out to us.
One question here, Daniel, I can answer from Day says, would one be able to get the market analyzer set up for the bundle for NinjaTrader? And yeah, because we're going to build those in the masterclass, and we've done in previous classes where we build it live, we give you the recording, and we can send out the files so you can import the analyzer template.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and yeah, and the master classes, you will learn all these things. So for TradingView, let's start there. You learn how to define your own alerts, how to even how to optimize or use the parameters to really hone in the indicator. For NinjaTrader, you're going to learn about how to create custom strategies using the strategy builder of NinjaTrader, how to scan for it, how to create set up alerts, and so forth. And for MotiveWave, similar topic, strategy builder, we're going to show you how to create your own watch list based on the indicator, how to set up alerts, and so forth. So all these things will be covered in the master classes that will come with the indicators.
Perfect. And one question from Dean. Is the trailing stop order for 123 strike and divergence cloud automatically placed in the event of a disconnect or computer crash? Does the stop remain active on the server, requiring no platform running to execute? No, so the indicators are not independent platforms. They are tools for a trading platform. So if your trading platform allows you to automatically place stops and while the computer crashes and still hold up on the server, then yes, but that's not possible with something like MotiveWave. And yeah, but we do expose the plots so that if you do have a strategy builder or a way to automate the indicator on your platform, like the MotiveWave strategy builder or the NinjaTrader strategy builder, then they make it very easy and possible.
Perfect. Another question here. Does it come with a scanner for NT8? It does not, but we will show you how to create your own scanner in the masterclass, 100%. Brian wants to know, yes, we do. It's on our Discord. TradingView may not be the absolute accurate term for this, but we do have a Discord channel, a very active Discord channel where we are posting live charts every single day, mainly for day trading, but also some longer term charts. So please join our Discord at tradingindicators.com/Discord. You will also get the link once you sign up for the bundle. It's going to be part of the email we're going to send to you right after your purchase or your subscription. All right.
Checking here. We had some symbol
Steve,
requests. I'm not sure if we're going to get to that.
yeah, Stephen
Oh,
wants
yeah.
to know, is it possible to build a strategy in NT8 based on the indicator? Using the NT8 strategy builder, for example, you can create your own custom strategy based on the sequence of the indicator and perhaps maybe even add some additional conditions to it that you may want to consider. Maybe some custom time frames or time sessions, trading sessions you want to take, confirmation indicators, and so forth. That's all possible.
And we had a question about user feedback. So we always take user feedback into account. Like a lot of the features are brought to our attention or suggested to us. But one thing I do want to mention, though, is what's big about this version is that a lot of this stuff was not even possible before. So the technology on TradingView, especially to do this, I think we are the first team or indicator creators to accomplish this level of auto optimization. And it took a lot of time. And TradingView just recently, I think 2025, made it possible. They increased their server capacity. And finally, I'm sure a lot of TradingView users are going to love the new version. Now it's pretty much equivalent to all of the more advanced platforms like MotiveWave that existed in the past.
Yeah, perfect. Greg wants to know if you want the indicator for multiple platforms, will it require extra charges? Potentially, yes, but Greg, reach out to us. Let's see what you already have and which platforms you are considering, and then we can take it from there. But this deal is for one platform only, but please send me a message and we take it from there. All right, so should we take some symbol requests real quick? Nicholas, what do you think?
Sure, yeah. So I
Do you
saw
still have some
one.
time? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So let me open up my screen here, share my screen. Okay, second. All right, so I saw one. Does it work? Can be used on ESGC. So I think Daniel already kind of answered. Yes, it can be used on any asset class. And you can see here actually that 15-second chart I was talking about, but we can go over to ES, on a 15-minute chart. And we can see, yes, the indicators can be used, can be applied to these charts. 1, 2, 3, I can turn it on 1, 2, 3, strike. Move this. And of course, ES, an expensive contract. It's a macro contract. So the indicator is only set to risk $500 max here, meaning you literally cannot trade it. You would have to be risking a couple $1,000s, I would think. But yes, the indicators definitely do work on these symbols and especially on gold, which has been having a lot of volatility recently. I think Divergence Cloud and 1, 2, 3 strike were working super well on the 5 and 15-minute charts on this all day or all week. So a lot of nice shorts here. Small stop out here, but catching these quick reversals up and down with decent win rates and a good profit factor. On the 15-minute, oh, and I'm actually on ES still. I swapped to GC, but on GC, Divergence Cloud has been doing really well in the long direction. And one good thing we didn't mention about these indicators is, especially with Divergence Cloud, a lot of reversals, right? Maybe you're not a short trader. Maybe you don't like to trade shorts. Well, the indicators allow you to come up into the settings, and there's something called trading style. And you can tell the indicator, hey, I don't like to take longs and shorts. I only want to trade longs. If you click that, boom, the statistics will change. The profit factor will change because now the indicator is only optimizing to give you those nice long trades. Look, these are that's a crazy result, 26 profit factor. So it's doing way better now for long trades because we told the indicator, hey, tune in only on long trades. I don't take shorts. And look at this, really, really well performing. And you can do something like hop back and replay just to confirm, were those flukes? Or if I started back there, would we still also get nice signals? So very handy for that. I think a lot of traders are long only, but it does work on any symbol. And we had a symbol request, Daniel. I
Yeah,
think
and
with the stock.
before symbol request, a question came in from Shanta. She wanted to know, was this recorded? Shanta, yes, it definitely was recorded, and you will be sent the recording shortly afterwards. We have you're registered for this webinar, so this will be sent to you probably within a couple of hours, at the latest tomorrow morning. So absolutely yes. Gus wanted to know, what about super signals? Great question. There's going to be an update coming out for those as well, Gus, for this, but yeah, something we are currently working on.
And
All
okay, I'm going to
right.
go back and look in the chat. There was a question that I missed from the start. You can see it. I'm opening up my Q&A. It's two stocks. I think it was Pfizer and Johnson and Johnson. So probably on a swing trading time frame. Maybe let's look at the 4-hour. And let's check out. I think I have some strange settings set on here. Oops. Look back. Let's check out Divergence Cloud and hop out of replay mode. So we're going to see what's happening on the 4-hour on Johnson and Johnson. I'm going to get rid of these little drawings here. And well, it doesn't have a very great short win rate. Nice profit factor though, and a lot of the shorts seem to be getting some profitable exits before the trade reverses. But it really seems to be preferring the long side, which I would assume gives the most profit factor. Recently on Pfizer, it went long on Monday. So the most recent trade was Monday at 10 a.m. And one thing I would do.
And Nicholas, wait for 1 second on this one here. It's actually a great example. Look at the difference between the long win rates and the short win rates. Great example of what signals you should trust more. Obviously, for this particular symbol, the long trades have been working better. Much. So what do you do as trader? Well, I think the answer is not that complicated. You will simply enter or follow the long trades, ignore the short ones. Because why? Because they have the much better win rate. And this is where the statistics come in, and this is where they give you the insight that you would like to see as a trader.
Definitely. And another thing here, again, we've seen on a couple of these symbols. Oh, geez, I hope somebody has pointed this out in the Q&A box. I keep going to change symbols, but I'm on futures. I never went over to Pfizer. This is still gold. So let's hop over to Pfizer on the 4-hour. Let's get out of replay mode and put Divergence Cloud. Okay, this looks more like what's probably happening in a stock. So on Pfizer, 6.02 profit factor, 84 tests, 1,000 4-hour bars ago. 100% short win rate. 1/4 of long trades or long exits have been profitable. And if it doesn't cap out our optimization time, we can see if we can look back even further to 2,000 bars. And now we get a different picture and a different optimized setting. So now it's pretty even, a great profit factor, but it's catching a lot more short-term reversals. Better shorts. We had a really nice short trade here on Thursday, March 13th, and it just told us to go long last Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays ago. Right? Yeah. Back here. And if we wanted to risk him a maximum of $1,000, this would have been almost 600 shares. It told us to take a profit right here, a profit right here. And now we're coming back to our trailing stop. Maybe the trade's going to continue upwards. This is just a pullback, or maybe we're going to stop out.
Yeah, great example. What was the other one?
Johnson &
Johnson. Ah, yeah.
Look at this. Look at that win rate. This thing must be catching reversals really well. It's very high long win rate, very high short win rate, and a high profit factor. And over 2,000 4-hour bars. So we can scroll back and see these results are assuming we've been trading since May 2021. So these performance results, this approach has been working this consistently since March 2021. So right now it's telling us to probably be wise to be short right now, which does look sensible just looking at the chart. And it does look like we came down, told us to take a profit. We came up. Now we're setting lower highs. Maybe this is like one of those nice spots. Right now, actually, the current price is right around where the indicator's entry price was, which would have been right here. So it's almost like you're just getting in on the trade.
Yeah, perfect. All right, a couple of questions that came in. So Shanta, please send me a message. We're gonna figure something out. She's also a previous owner of the Powerbundle. So please send me a message. We do have upgrade options for this AI package available. And for Super Signals, a question came in. Yes, there will be an update coming up soon. But if you already own the Super Signals and would like to just upgrade to get the latest version of the Powerbundle indicators, send me a note as well, and I'm going to explain to you what your upgrade options will be for that. Great. All right. So let me grab back the screen again, Nicholas, real quick. And guys, if you have any last minute questions, I encourage you to put those into the Q&A box right now. And here the reminder of the special offer. So you're going to save $200 compared to the regular price, where it's going to be at as soon as the special runs out. So normally it's $9.97, but to celebrate the arrival of the third generation of the Powerbundle, we are discounting the yearly subscription to only $7.97 a year. And of course, this comes with all the extra goodies, such as our live trading workshop, our masterclass, where you're going to learn everything about these indicators. It's really important to us that you feel comfortable, that you get all your questions answered, and that you will be able to use these indicators to become a better trader who makes better trading decisions. So this is dear to our heart. This is why we are offering all this education, of course, with the subscription. All right. So let me see for any last minute questions.
We've had a lot of questions, Daniel, about super signals. And
yeah, the answer there is that these will be there will be an update for these. But if you have the Super Signals Premium package, which includes these Powerbundle indicators, please send me a note. There's an upgrade option for that one available. So please send me a quick note at info@tradingindicators.com. There will also be a follow-up email coming out with a reminder that if you already have the package, please, here are your upgrade options. Will you be adding this set of indicators to the liquidity dashboard? Maybe in the future. It's not on the plan right now. We have some other plans, such as adding volume IQ to it, Rex. This is something which is possible in the future. Yeah. All right. Great. And Chris actually noticed that you were still on the gold chart. Good. Nice to
yeah.
Look, it's nice that you pay attention. Perfect. All right. One last thing before we close out the session. First of all, thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight. I know for some of you, it must have been very, very late, especially if you're in Europe. So thank you so much for staying up. Please watch out for the recording. It's going to be sent out to you probably tomorrow morning, because it's also getting a bit late here. I'm going to send it out. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions, or if there were questions which were not answered and we overlooked them, first of all, I apologize for this. There are lots of questions that rolled in, but you can always reach out to us and to me via our homepage, tradingindicators.com. Go to the main menu, click on contact, put your question into the contact form, and it will come straight to my inbox. And I will personally answer every single question, or Homer and Niklas will do it. With this, guys, I wish you all a great night. Thank you so much for attending. Have a nice night. Trade safe. Bye-bye. Thanks, Niklas. Thanks, Homer.